there's hardly any, and they're fairly straightforward, okay? If we start at the base of the body, the first one I want you to know, which isn't a muscle, but I put it with the muscles, is the tendon that's right behind the ankle. What is that tendon?
Achilles.
Again?
Achilles.
Again.
Achilles.
Okay, Achilles tendon.
Achilles tendon.
Alrighty, then the next muscle I want you to know is the big calf muscle. What is that called? Gastroc. Say gastroc. Gastroc. Nemius. Gastrocnemius. Okay. Yes, spelling counts. Okay. Half off. Okay, so, you know, have study groups. How do you spell gas?
G-A-S.
Troc.
C-R-O-C.
Knee. That could be N-E or N-I, but it happens to be N-E. And then meus. M-I-U-S. It's a drag, I know, I can't spell, but come into the center of the circle and all this, yeah. Okay, so any questions on the Achilles tendon? Remember, this is all in your hands out. Or the calf muscle. What's the calf muscle? Gastrocnemius, say. Yeah. Okay, and then the muscle group that goes from the knee, okay, on the back of the leg, from the knee up to the butt, what is that muscle group known as? No. Hamstrings. Okay. So, everybody got the hamstrings? Okay, now the hamstrings, there's 3 of them, and no, I don't know what they're called. And one of them connects underneath the knee. Okay, so when we're doing our hamstring stretches, which we didn't do today, but if the knee is slightly bent, okay, that one hamstring that attaches below the knee ain't never going to stretch, okay? So if you're trying to stretch your hamstrings and the knee's slightly bent, it won't happen. Okay, so you have to have the knee straight, not locked. Locked is dangerous. Alrighty, so then the quadriceps are on the front of the thigh, right? How many quadriceps? 4. Quad means 4. Okay, questions on the quadriceps? Everybody looks so bummed out. Is everyone okay? You know all this material probably, right? This is probably the one class that has it down. Okay, so the front of the thigh is what muscle group? The back of the leg? The calf muscle? The tendon here? Collectively, the gluteus minimus, maximus, and medius we're going to refer to as the gluteals. Gluteals. Okay? And that only leaves one muscle group left. The core, these muscles here, what are they called collectively? Abdominals. And there's 3 of those, 3 thick layers. Great. Okay. What is the core muscle group here? Abdominals. What muscles?
Gluteals.
The front of the thigh. The back of the thigh. The calf. And the tendon. Fabulous. Okay. No questions on the muscles? Really? Okay. Great. Then let's move to the bones. So the fingers and the toes are called the phalanges. There are how many phalanges? Beware of trick questions on the exams, okay? Then the bones that are in here that are usually referred to as the ball of the foot, what are those bones? Metatarsals. Everyone say metatarsals. The corresponding area on the hands, metacarpals. Did we talk about this before?
Yes.
We did? Like metacarpals, you remember because carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
What? Pardon me? I don't think there's any here, but it was sent out.
Oh, so okay.
Right? You always have to check my UH portal. Do you do that?
I do.
Okay. I will get hard copies, okay?
That's okay.
Okay, but I think I should anyway, probably. So metatarsals I remember because T for toe, and metacarpals I remember because it's the only one left over after the metatarsals. But some people remember metacarpals. Okay. Now, the next bone coming up the body is the thigh bone. It is the femur. Say femur. Femur. Let's skip up to the breastbone. What is it called? What about the shoulder blades? What are they called? Okay, any questions so far? What is the thigh bone?
Femur.
What is the ball of the hand? What are the fingers? What are the toes? What's the ball of the foot? What's the shoulder blades? What is the breastbone? Okay, wow. Now, we're going to talk about the spinal column. The spinal column, the bones are referred to as vertebra or vertebrae. So sometimes the spinal column is called the vertebral column, okay, which is fun to say. Vertebral column. Now, it's easy to get the bottom of the vertebral column, the spinal column, mixed up with the pelvis because they're right next to each other. But don't. They're two completely different things. So the spinal column we're going to do first. All right? And let's start at the bottom. So at the very bottom of the spinal column, where the tailbone is, where the tail needs to come from, what is the tailbone called? Coccyx. Say coccyx. Coccyx. How do you spell coccyx, Tina? Tina? Because spelling counts, right? Tina, how do you spell coccyx? Coccyx, yeah. Anybody know how to spell it?
C-O-C-C-Y-X.
C-O-C-C-Y-X spelling? Okay. So, what is the tailbone called? Coccyx. Then this kind of sort of flat bone right above it is called the sacrum. Say sacrum. Or sacrum. Now remember when we're doing our hamstring stretches, when we're lying on our back and we're taking our legs up and I keep saying press your sacrum down? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So we've got the, what's the tailbone called? Coccyx. Then what's the bone directly above the coccyx? Then we get to the vertebra. What are the vertebrae in the lower back area called? Lumbar. Say lumbar. How many lumbar do we have usually? 5. So the lumbar vertebrae are in the lower back area. Then the vertebrae that are in the mid-back are called the, go ahead, what are they called? Thoracic. Say thoracic. Thoracic. For thorax, right? How many thoracic vertebrae do we typically have? 12. Then when you get up to the neck vertebra, what are they called? Cervical. Everyone say cervical. Okay. What is the tailbone called?
Coccyx.
What are the neck vertebrae called? What are the lower back vertebrae called? What is the bone that is directly above the coccyx? Pretty good. You guys are sharp. Wow. Okay, so we got coccyx, sacrum, lumbar, thoracic, cervical. How many cervicals are there?
7.
How many thoracics? 12. How many lumbar?
5.
Any questions or clarifications on that? Okay, moving right along here. All right, great. So that leaves the pelvis. That's all that's left. So let's, I might have already done this to you. So say this after me. The three main bones of the pelvis are
3 main bones of the pelvis.
ilium, ischium, pubis. The three main bones of the pelvis are ilium, ischium, pubis. That's great. Because the other areas that we're going to identify are not the main bones. Okay? So, this big flat bone up here that I kind of think of as butterfly wings or whatever. Okay, this main bone of the pelvis is called the ilium. Say ilium. Ilium. Then the bone over here that's kind of like a figure 8. By the way, we have medical posters up there. Underneath is the bones. This figure 8 area, this bone that makes up the figure 8, what does that refer to? Ischium. Great. Then, kind of in front of the ischium, we have the third main bone of the pelvis, which must be the pubis. Repeat after me. The three main bones of the pelvis are. This big butterfly one is called the figure 8 part is called the, and this part right in front here is called the. That's fantastic. So, that's great. Everybody clear on the three main bones of the pelvis? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, then you're there. Then, when we talk about the hip bones, and you can trace your hip bones, the hip bones are this part of the ilium, this crest. Okay, hence the iliac crest. What main bone of the pelvis is the iliac crest on? The ilium, right? Say ilium. Iliac crest. Ilium. Iliac crest. What are the hip bones? What are the hip bones called? What are the hip bones called? These are the hip bones right here. What are they called? Iliac crest. The iliac crests are on what main bone of the pelvis? Ilium. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Then, let's look at the figure 8 guy. Okay, we'll first go like this back and forth. And you can feel your bones hitting the floor. Do it. Feel those two bones hitting the floor? Those are what's referred to as the sit bones. Okay? The sit bones, the anatomically correct word, okay, the sit bones are right here at the bottom of the figure 8 bone. What is the figure 8 bone called?
Ischium.
Ischium. So right here at the base, you can feel them. Those are called the ischial tuberosities. Ischial tuberosities. The tuberosity is just a bump on a bone. Okay? So, what are the sit bones called?
Ischial tuberosities.
Ischial tuberosities. Ischial tuberosities. If you're like bored silly, you can split. You can split or say as you want, okay? All right, so therefore, what main bone of the pelvis are the ischial tuberosities on?
Ischium.
The ischium. Okay? Right? Okay. How are we doing? Do you want some more drilling on this stuff? Yes? Okay, let's go through the figure 8. Now remember, I'm calling it figure 8. I don't know that anybody else would. Okay. So first let's do the butterfly wings part. Okay, what is that called? And then the figure 8 must be, because we know it's not the pubis, because the pubis is right here, so it must be the ischium. So the three main bones of the pelvis are, say that, ilium, ischium, and pubis. So I remember it kind of like top down, but not really. Okay, so we've got the figure 8 bone, Curry, what is that called?
The ischium.
The ischium. At the base of the ischium are the tuberosities that are called the sit bones. But anatomically, the correct term is ischial tuberosities. Okay. What else? The bones. Got it? Do you have it? Because let me tell you, you better get an A on this exam because they're exponentially harder as we go along. Okay? Right, of course. Oh, well, that's great. Okay, you got the bones and muscles. Well, we have plenty of time. Okay, so then what